Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Welcome to RadioAMB, which is designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Schmucker, who's been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. RadioAMB stands for American-Made Beauty, and here we tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Our segment sponsor today is AmericanMadeBeauty.com, a beauty platform designed to help consumers find beauty companies that are implementing industry's best practices to bring you quality products and services. Go to AmericanMadeBeauty.com to find beauty products and services that meet a strict set of standards that reflect their American heritage. Do you want to sample some of our brands? Click on the consumer page and sign up for your free American Made Beauty box. Customized with brands you want to try with products that are selected just for you. That's AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This week, we elected a president in the United States, and I personally believe it's a watershed moment, a moment in time that marks an important and historical change. For those of us who have lived long enough to remember actually living in a time where civil liberties wasn't available and only available to an elite class of people, this election gives rise to our concerns for our country's future journey. For one who was raised by a mother of 5 children, she was a stay-at-home mom and whose father discovered that she was unhappy in her marriage, and as a result, he disowned her. Her father told her she was a nasty woman for having those thoughts and would spend the next 30 years punishing her with one of the most evil things a family member can do to another, and that's to withdraw their involvement in their life. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, my mother instilled in me, her firstborn girl, that the world was a blank canvas, and I could paint the picture in any way that I wanted. She taught me as a woman that I had the capacity to do anything that I chose to do, and she instilled in me values that have provided me a foundation to care for and be open to accepting people of all colors, of all races, of all lifestyles. And so as I start this show, I am so excited to have the perfect guest for this week. My guest, Patricia Shepherd, is a mother who has instilled those kinds of values and has raised champions. And so I'm very excited to have in our feature segment today the opportunity to introduce you to Patricia, to let you hear a little bit about her background and the information on how she raised a family of champions. In our segment we call In the Jar, we'll talk about energy and her philosophy on the power of that's generated from words. During our segment that we call Beauty That's Soul Deep, we'll talk about her granddaughter's brand and one of the things that she's doing with the power of intention and the power of words. And finally, in our last segment we call Beauty Biz, we'll talk about the things that are ahead for Patricia and her children and grandchildren and how people who want to get involved with the Yamaguchi Lifestyle brand can do so. So let me tell you a little bit about Patricia and why I asked her to be my guest today. For over 25 years, she was an English video and drama teacher in Oklahoma. As the mother of an oral deaf son who graduated from public school by her rewriting his textbooks, and she also became a national advocate and speaker for deaf education in public schools. Patricia started public speaking at the age of 9 in 4-H clubs, became a state and national winner. During the early part of her life and career, she received an undergraduate degree in government and English and a master's in secondary administration. Today, she's one of the business minds behind the Yamaguchi Lifestyle brands, which includes her role as managing salons, director of education, product development, brand expansion, author, and public relations. And if that's not enough, she's the mother of 3 champions: Douglas Chamber, Blue Spa owner and attorney; Corey Chambers, who runs inventory and shipping at Yamaguchi; and Melissa Chamber Yamaguchi, who is a speaker, My Energy, My Life, and the owner of Yamaguchi Salons. Welcome, Patricia. It's a delight to have you with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to be your guest. It's my pleasure.
So, Patricia, I know that you started and taught back in the early days of education. Tell us a little bit about that environment.
Well, I came from a family of teachers. My mother taught 46 years in one school, but she began teaching when she was 16 in Tennessee in the Great Smoky Mountains. And her mother, my grandmother, who helped raise me, had a degree in elocution in the early 1900s. So I promised that I would never be a teacher. So, that tells what happens, as Billy Yamaguchi says, man plans and God laughs. Mm-hmm. So I would not have become a teacher if I had not had my second child, Corey. And I knew that my oldest and my youngest would be all right in schools no matter what. And I, at that time, was working for a large company as a personnel director in Oklahoma City. And I didn't know what I would do with Corey. I didn't know how I would get any kind of training for him, because at that time the only choice that we had in Oklahoma was to send your child to a state school for the deaf, or as a boarding school, and my son was 3 years old. And I definitely did not want him to go to a boarding school, because people were rioting in Oklahoma City about the early days of busing their kids out of the neighborhood, but mine would be sent 70-some miles away from home. So I happened to hear a senator on television who spoke about he was able to get, for the first time, public school education for kindergartners. So I called him on the phone and thanked him for that, but I said, I have a son that's deaf, and there's no training available for him. The only training that I have is there are 2 private schools, which I had him in, but the fee was astronomical, tuition, but we did it. And I said, but it should be okay for the state. If you can train kids in kindergarten, then you need really to be training everyone. He said, well, you come out and speak. So he invited me to speak to the Senate Education Committee. Then I spoke to the whole Senate, and we got the bill passed. And then I worked on a national level. And my early days of teaching, I taught in a school that was 90% black, the early days of education, and no textbooks, but they taught me how to teach, how to make everything relevant, and how to draw them into it.
And so the initial introduction to start teaching was being able to provide the kind of education that your son needed, who was, and I like the way you put it in your description, orally deaf. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but it puts you in a situation where you were really studying textbooks and how to convey information in a way where it could be better understood by your son.
Well, first of all, my son didn't know words.
Right.
And so if you said, get up, he didn't know what that was. So I taught him how to say mama and the 3 ways you make sound. One is by putting his fingers on my nasal where he could feel that sound. One to put his hand in front of my mouth to hear the breath sound, and one to put it on my throat so he would hear the guttural sound. Mm-hmm. So if we were saying mama or papa, on the lips it looks alike. Mm-hmm. But papa is a breath sound. So that's the way he learned to differentiate. And it's a slow process, really. I tell everyone I'm only 40, but I look like this because I had Corey. But that won't work when your kids are older than you are then.
Right.
But it taught me, because learning came very easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
I started school when I was 5 in the 2nd grade. My grandmother taught me to read at the age of 3 from the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in college when I was 16. So learning came easy for me. And my oldest son, he was quoting poetry by the time he was 18 months, Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. So then I was such a smart aleck, I thought, oh boy, I have this down. But then I say God slapped me in the face and said, wait a minute, and gave me Corey.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey really taught me more compassion, taught me how to understand that, to break it down and what's really important. And for Corey, everything in our house had a sign on it with what it was. And it wasn't enough to know this was a table. It was, we eat on top of the table.
Mm.
We can sit under the table. I had to go through the whole gambit. And I discovered that if I wanted someone to teach my son, I should become a teacher.
Right.
So I did, and I left a job that was in the late 1960s, was paying me $4,000 a month, and I started teaching in school. I finished my college education because I was carrying all the units in school, and then I was still working. So now I look back and think anybody in their right mind would know she couldn't do that, but I guess I never have been in my right mind. So I did it, and I asked to teach at Northeast High School in Oklahoma City, and we had no textbooks.
Because at that point, in at that particular time, what was the population of the school? You had no textbooks because you were teaching in what was the demographics of the people in the school?
Well, it's 95% black,
Mm-hmm.
and the 5% that were white
Mm-hmm.
were bussed in,
Mm-hmm.
and they came in through a separate door,
Mm-hmm.
and they did not mix with the other students. So when they called it an integrated school, but really and truly it wasn't.
And so they would bus in 5% that were white. They came in a separate door, and they were actually segregated in a different classroom.
Yes, in a different classroom.
Right.
It was a higher class. It was an advanced chemistry class.
And I would guess that they have books.
Yes, they had books.
Of course
they had a full lab.
Uh-huh.
So since I had worked for the senator,
Mm-hmm.
that helped me get the funding for schools, and I had worked in helping to run his gubernatorial candidacy, I knew how to get attention. So my students and I marched to the school board's office asking for toilet paper and textbooks because we had none.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went around to all the people that I knew, like the gentleman who owned the Daily Oklahoman, and I told him, I need paper. We don't have paper. We don't have a copy machine. How do you expect these students to learn if we don't have the proper material? So he got together with some of the businessmen, and they provided us with paper, and they sent us over a copy machine. So, and then we marched down. We got textbooks because I called the media, and they covered it, our march, and so we got textbooks. I went down to the where they kept the depository and picked out textbooks. And it's funny, Patty, because I spoke with one of my students that I taught in 1969, and I graduated in 72, and he said, I wanted to tell you the thing that impressed me the most about you. And I said, yeah, what? He said, the fact that you walked in and you taught Beowulf to us, ghetto kids, a black classroom, and you taught Beowulf. And you taught it, and we were all suckered into it.
I'm sorry, what was the word you said?
Beowulf. It's an English.
Okay.
It's a play, and anyway, so that's, I think my son and my students taught me how to teach.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when I would teach Corey something, he'd look at me and he'd say, how will I use this?
Mm-hmm.
If I couldn't tell him, he'd say, don't waste my time. I have many, many things I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was teaching, I would write on the board, this is how you will use what I will teach you today.
Right.
And so it taught me, and that, you know, life is a learning experience, and I'm always learning, and I'm very excited about it.
And so at the core of your philosophy, when you think back and you look at the students that you were able to touch during that particular time, where all of your children have grown to in terms of being the champions, not only just being successful in business, but also knowing 2 out of the 3 of them. I haven't had the privilege to meet Corey, to know that these are people that are showing up and making a real difference in the world. What drives that? What is at the core of who you are, your philosophy, that has allowed you to raise champions?
Well, I've never had any limits set on me or on my children. And they have always worked with me in all of my activities in giving back. My oldest, Doug, that you know,
mm-hmm.
began tutoring kids when he was in 7th grade. And I started as Students for Social Change in Oklahoma City. And I got students from all the high schools who were sitting around marching about, these were the hippie days, and about they were very anti-establishment. And so I told them, you guys are the establishment if you're not doing anything to make a change. So we had volunteers.
You say that again. You are the establishment if you're not doing anything to make a change.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I had students from all high schools, and there were, I believe at that time, 7 in Oklahoma City, and they volunteered, and they had to tutor someone. And they could tutor them in athletics, or they could tutor them in academics. But they could not buy anything for them. If the child had on a ragged shirt, they had to accept that child just like he or she was. And it was really life-changing for a lot of my students. So my students were taught in the Northeast High School, as well as the all schools that were white were also involved. And so some of the boys didn't want to get involved in teaching academics, so I went out and found an area where we could play baseball. And so they organized baseball teams, and so they would teach them math by how to keep scores. So there's all kinds of ways to teach. And I did early theater by going into the ghetto areas, and we'd draw a quilt over a clothesline, and that was our stage. And I would have them to act out stuff, and then we would all clap enthusiastically. So I taught students how to teach, and you know, you just do it.
Right.
Because it's something that we all can do. Everyone's a teacher.
Right. Now, let me ask you something, Patricia. When you said that you had the students that were tutoring, and you told them that they could teach anything, but they couldn't buy anything. They had to accept the student if they were in torn clothing. What was the importance?
Right.
Why did you feel that was so important?
Because it's so easy to say I gave at the office.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to buy a shirt for someone and turn around and walk away, but they want your time.
Right.
They want your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
They want your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at a child in the eyes and you teach them something and you feel the warmth in there, that's when you're really teaching. You benefit. You benefit more as much as the child.
Right. And I understand that part with regards to giving back, with regards to the teaching. But why did you think it was so important for the teacher to accept the student as they were? And you mentioned somebody showing up, a child showing up in raggedy clothing, that you didn't want the teacher to buy that student new clothes.
Because that would be like saying, I can only teach you if you're dressed right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
you had to accept that child and make him or her feel important the way he looked, and to see the beauty within the child.
Right.
And to see that sparkle in the eye whenever you drive up at the neighborhood and they see your car and they start running toward you because you're going to give them your undivided attention for an hour.
And accept them as they are.
And accept them
right.
as they are, not requiring anything.
Right.
But who they are.
Right. Such an important aspect of this, that, as I said in the opening, at this watershed moment in the history of our country, those values that really have been foundational to our country being the kind of place where people feel like they have the opportunity to accomplish anything they want to, but it's because we've been a nation of inclusion. And it sounds like you really were one of those pioneers that to help people to understand that.
Well, you know, my grandfather settled in Oklahoma in 1901 before it was a state. And it's called Everybody Helped Everyone. And that's the way I grew up on the farm, and that's the way I continue my life.
All right, well, on that note, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to spend a little time talking about how that has come into a philosophy of energy and a new book that Patricia has just published. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm Patty Schmucker, your host, and I'm here with Patricia Shepherd of Yamaguchi Lifestyle brands, and we've been talking about the philosophy that has allowed her to raise a family of champions, not only her children, but now her grandchildren. Patricia, you've just about to release a new book called Energy Unleashed. Tell us a little bit about your book and the philosophy that went into writing it.
You know, I'd be happy to, because it's about something that I believe in very strongly. The power of words. The words we think, the words we speak, the words we hear, because it affects every part of who we are in our lives. How we view ourselves, how we interact, our health, our career. If we think positive thoughts, if we get up in the morning and think, oh, I feel great, today's a beautiful day, and we keep that in our minds, then today's going to be a beautiful day no matter what happens to us. if we get up and say, oh, my gosh, I didn't get any sleep. Oh, my leg hurts. We've already put negativity into the day. Mm-hmm. So it's I call it the words, and we're the originator of those words. Mm-hmm. And we determine what words that we hear and how we interpret them. That doesn't mean that if you walk in and someone's saying something negative, that it doesn't enter your body mm-hmm. or your mind or your environment. But you have the power to control it and how much it affects you, because words vibrate at different levels. And energy vibrates. But words, I don't think we really pay attention to a lot of the words. When you listen to the music, you heard the rhetoric from a presidential election that was probably the nastiest we've ever had.
Right.
And so now we're in a healing process of words. And when you say words, you can't pull them back. Mm-hmm. And because the damage can be done, you can say, I'm sorry, or, oh, that wasn't what I intended. But the words have meaning. They have energy. And I've studied a lot of the research that went into this, and I've been privileged to hear many speakers through iSpa mm-hmm. that talked about the power of words and the power of laughter. And putting this down, because Billy Yamaguchi has been keeping a journal, and he's my son-in-law, and I know it's unusual, but he feels like he's part of my family, and he feels like he's one of my sons. And I've traveled with him whenever I managed 8 of his salons. Mm-hmm. And he would keep a journal of thoughts of things people would say to him when he was doing their hair, because, hairdressers are powerful. They have the power of touch, and the words that they use to discuss with their clients can make them walk out like with their shoulders held high, or they can walk out, yeah, it was okay.
Right.
Well, I don't want an okay experience.
Right.
So I was able to take the words and some of the thoughts that people have said to Billy or he has said to them, and to expand them and to create a book, and we divided it into the 5 energies of feng shui: fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And each of the elements have different energies, so each of the writings has different energies, and each chapter has over 40 of the writings. And I call them energy boost, but what it really is to make you think, and its questions or its ideas, and then for you to expand on.
And so, and I like that from observing people and how the energy, how you can make choices as far as the positive words. And tell us a little bit about that whole concept of positive intention with the words.
Well, first of all, this is my big thing about social media. Mm-hmm. It is so easy to put words on when you don't have to look at people in the eye and see how your words have hurt them.
Right.
See the reaction. And so people have become very bold and very nasty with their tweets. Mm-hmm. And with me, they've never understood the power of their words, and they've never taken ownership of that power. It's to me, it gives you power, and we are very powerful, but we give up our power to a lot of people and a lot of things, to money, to various things. But the strength that we have, I think, as individuals, comes from the way we view others and what we say and the words that we use to convey. So whenever you're saying something to someone, when someone walks into our salon, good morning, how are you? Just greeting them, it's the intent.
Right.
And the intent must come from your purity of heart. You can't fake it.
Right.
You can't fake love.
And so, and I know for those of you who've been listening to our program, we have had the opportunity to have both Melissa Chambers Yamaguchi and Billy Yamaguchi on the show, so go back and listen to our archives to learn a little bit more about feng shui and the 5 elements of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood in identifying those energies. Can you give us, Patricia, just sort of an example of what does it mean with regards to the energy around fire, for example?
Well, fire energy is very passionate and very creative and very artistic and very expressive. So when someone walks into the room, you'll feel that they're very charismatic. It can be a positive energy or a negative and energy. And so it can be either chaotic or it can be very fruitful. Mm-hmm. So it's giving you the ownership of what you're saying and the words. Let me give some of the words. I wrote, release a spark that ignites your passion and leads to a world of magic, unlimited possibilities and joy. Explore a lifetime journey of becoming you, defined by only you, yet enjoyed by all. The power of passion creates life and gives birth to beauty and a thirst for discovering what will be. So those are some of the things that I have that are written in the fire chapter.
And so how do you suggest people, the idea of the power with words is so positive, and you gave that example early on that if you wake up in the morning and you think this is going to be a wonderful day, you're starting out the day with those very positive feelings. What do you say to someone who says, but I don't wake up feeling that way. I wake up with aches and pains, or particularly in this day and age with everything that's happening around us, I wake up with fear or worry about what's happening next. How do you coach people to take control of their thoughts?
Well, the mind is powerful. Mm-hmm. And we all wake up, especially if you reach a certain age, mm-hmm. with aches. It's where you give your attention. And the power that we have from our mind, I think we give our power away to everyone else rather than taking ownership of it. So I used to tell my students, look in the mirror the first thing and find something beautiful about yourself and remember it all day long. Is it your smile, your eyes, your dimples? What is it? Mm-hmm. So that's the way I want to start my day, on a positive note.
All right, well, we're going to take another break, but that's so powerful in terms of it's where you put your energy. So it's a choice,
it is a choice.
And you're guiding them with your powerful book called Energy Unleashed by Patricia Shepherd. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Patricia about how this has turned into another extension of their brand with a candle line. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now, this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm Patty Schmucker, your host, and I'm here with Patricia Shepherd of the Yamaguchi Lifestyle brands. We've been talking about her new book that's just coming out called Energy Unleashed, where she's talking about the power of words and how you can utilize that to be able to manage your thoughts and get more out of your life. One of those people that you have really coached and helped is your granddaughter, Seiji, who has her own cosmetic line, and we've also had Seiji on the show, so you can go back and listen to that show. Tell us a little bit about the candle line that Seiji is doing and how she's using the power of words in her new brand.
I'd be happy to. She has a signature candle that she calls Inner Sage, and
Inner Sage.
Inner Sage.
Uh-huh.
And a play on her name.
Okay.
And the aromas are sandalwood, spice, saffron, and Arabian rose. And she was adamant about everything being harvested organic and everything being grown from and manufactured in the United States. And then her second line is called Intentional Line. And this is what I'm really proud of her for coming up with. Because we can follow this along with the 5 energies of feng shui. Mm-hmm. Her first one is passion. And in her aroma is spices. And what's unique about these are she's the one who's doing the pouring. She's assisting in it. But at the bottom of her candles is a crystal that she has selected for each one of these candles. And she has put her intention in as she placed it. And then it's the candle. Each time she has a note on there. Each time you light your candle, please meditate or put your intention or prayer into your candle. And then at the end, when it is burned down, you have the oil that you can use on your body because it's coconut. You have the aroma. You have the soft coconut that you can rub on and use as a fragrance. And then you also have the crystal. And she encourages you to take the crystal and carry it in your purse because it's full of all of your intentions and prayers. So this came from Seiji, mm-hmm. and I'm very, very, very proud of her for this. So she has passion, she has love, and serenity, abundance, focus, and wisdom. And she was very thoughtful in picking her aromas that matched each of the names and the crystal that she placed in them. So it's all about the energy, but it's making you mindful of, instead of just lighting a candle, you're lighting it for a purpose.
Right. Now, for those who haven't heard the show before, remind us, how old is Seiji?
Seiji just turned 17 on October the 26th.
Uh-huh.
And she's a unique young lady, very focused, also very witty. She has thrived. She's taking 2 college classes, And she has thrived in those classes because it's given her the freedom to speak and to have ideas and to explore. And I attribute this to my daughter and Billy, for they raised those children from the time they were grown up. All they've known is feng shui and the power of words, of believe instead of hope, of love, of family, of living with a purpose. And so every time Melissa's been on stage, her Seiji, in fact, introduced her at an Aveda Congress as Melissa was a speaker, and I think Seiji was about 4 or 5 at the time. So the children have traveled all around the world with their parents, and they understand feng shui, they understand the energy, and they understand that they're in charge. So to me, there's no greater thrill than to watch your children and the influence they have on their children.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember the history, Melissa actually came into feng shui as an adult. So, but it sounds like the philosophy of feng shui resonated with her because these were concepts that you began when your children were little, when Melissa was little, the power of words in having that opportunity to teach your orally deaf son, that power of words was already there, and so that message really resonated with Melissa. Did it make sense for you that how that bridge occurred?
It did, but when she was reading the book I Ching, and I said, Melissa, what is that book about? So she started telling me, and I said, oh my gosh, this sounds like the Farmer's Almanac that I grew up with. The understanding the energy of the earth,
right,
and understanding the power of our words. See, I grew up believing that individuals had the power because that's what my grandmother taught me, and that's what my mother taught me. And my mother was one of the first female principals in high school principals in Oklahoma, and so I never knew there were any limitations. I have another granddaughter, Doug's daughter, who's very much a feminist, and she gets mad at me. She says, Mimi, you know that women aren't treated right. I said, I've always been treated right. She said, you've never felt like you have been slighted for a man? I said, no, because I would have spoken up. I said, you have the power to speak up. If you're not succeeding, don't keep blaming everyone else. So that's the way I was raised, and it goes very hand in hand with the energy and of feng shui and honoring who we are.
And it's so powerful because you're right. I mean, as a woman who was raised with that belief system that there are no limitations, as I said in the introduction, my mother raised me with those same feelings, and I certainly have never felt that I wasn't capable or been in a position where I had necessarily prejudice against me because I was a woman. But as a strong woman, I certainly do feel that there have been there's been some resistance. Do you find that there's that balance where, like you said, you never felt any kind of resistance or obstacles against you? Is it because you don't see it, or you don't?
I don't
never
give
been
it the energy. I don't give it the energy.
You don't give it the
sure.
energy.
Yeah. What I can tell you, when I would speak to the deaf education, I had parents of deaf children telling me, well, it's okay if they don't want to do it. They don't have to give us money. And no, we pay taxes. So, yeah, I don't give it credibility because it's not going to interrupt me,
Right. Yeah, what a powerful message. It's about, again, you said it in the earlier segment, where we put our focus. Very powerful message. We're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about what Patricia sees ahead for herself and for the company. Stay with us and hear the rest of the story.
Here's Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Welcome back. This is Patty Schmucker, your host, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. Our segment sponsor today is Free Your Mane. That's spelled M-A-N-E, and you can find Free Your Mane at freeyourmane.com or at Anthropology stores. It's a hair care brand based on baobab oil designed for textured and dehydrated hair. Go to freeyourmane.com and go to Anthropology stores. So my guest today is Patricia Shepherd, and we're talking with her about her newly released book, Energy Unleashed. Patricia, tell us a little bit about, that's your newest adventure, but you've been running the Yamaguchi Lifestyle brands for a while. Tell us about all of the elements that make up the Yamaguchi enterprise at this point.
Well, we have our salons, the Yamaguchi salons, and we have two in California, one at the Four Seasons in Westlake Village and one in Ventura, our flagship. But we've also started on a new venture, and this is licensing the Yamaguchi salons, our feng shui brand, because Billy was the first to adapt feng shui to the beauty industry. And so what this entails is I go in and Billy goes in and we do feng shui training. Billy teaches the cutting and coloring techniques for each of the 5 elements, and I talk about the consultation along with Billy. But I train front desk and I train the whole staff in what it means to honor people and to honor yourself. You can't honor anyone more than you honor yourself. Mm-hmm. So feng shui is a very honorific core of our brand. And excuse me. So we have, and on that note, we have a new feng shui collection of our hair and spa products, and it's called the Nobu Feng Shui collection, and it's under fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And each of these have a hair and body cleanse, a conditioner, and a lotion. And they're all plant-based, very clean. And, you know, I always wanted a very organic and everything organic in the hair products. But I say it's as organic as we can make it, and still perform with integrity.
Right, and that's a really key aspect of it. So, but I want to take you back for a second. The salons, it's the Four Seasons that is where's the Four Seasons Hotel at?
The one that we have a salon now is at Westlake Village.
Westlake Village in California.
California.
And then there's one up in Ventura, California. But the Feng Shui brand, that one is in Hawaii, right?
It's in Oahu.
Oahu, okay, great.
It's at the Four Seasons Hotel in Ko'olina in Oahu.
Okay, great.
And it's our first time to go into that, and it has been working for us quite well.
Great.
And Billy goes over there. He's been going to Maui for about 8 years.
Uh-huh.
And so he loves the island. And because he says he looks like everybody there.
Right.
And but in Oahu, it is the Four Seasons. They have sacred ground there, and it's the ground where the warriors met to meditate and to pray before they would go to battle or to protect their island. So his message of Feng Shui falls right in line with their beliefs. And now then I have him going there around every 6 weeks, and he is booked, and we've had great press and great acceptance by the people from the islands. So that's our new venture.
Okay. And then there's the Nabu collection, which is a hair care brand.
It is. It's a hair care brand, and his next in line for us is his barbering men's line. But Billy also serves as a celebrity artist in Lake Austin, at Lake Austin Spa Resort. He goes there every month, and every month to Bacara Resort by Santa Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
And right now he's in the San Diego area where he goes every month. And then every 3 months he goes to New York.
Okay. So you can get Yamaguchi, you can get Billy himself in these various different locations throughout the country. So that's 3 salons, a hair care brand, managing Billy and his celebrity appearances around the country. That sounds like a handful, but there's more.
There is more. There is more. I also do the PR work for Melissa and for Seiji and Nobu's lines.
And tell us a little bit about Melissa's offering.
Well, Melissa is the one who started this, but Melissa deals with a totally different aspect of Feng Shui than what I deal with Billy. We're born into this world with 8 elements. 6 we don't have anything to do with. That was determined by our parents because it depends on our birth. And that's what Melissa deals with. But Billy deals with, and that's where I work very closely in all of our writings, with the 2 that we're in control of, who we are and what we do, our actions and who we are. And I love that because if we don't like who we are, quit complaining, change. Right. And I like the power. I like the strength of the individual. And but Melissa, she's now speaking with corporations. She leaves Tuesday. She will be at the Paul Mitchell School. She just returned last week from 3 and speaking in Fort Worth, Dallas, and Ardmore, Oklahoma, and then she goes to San Antonio Wednesday. So she not only speaks to schools, but she's hired by corporations to understand the energy of the people who work in the departments. And also she also works with them on laying out their office if they ask, but she is hired to do all of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so we've got Melissa's work, we've got Billy's work, Nobu, who is also one of your grandsons, and then Seiji's line, which is a makeup line, now going into a candle line.
Correct.
Is there anything else?
Well, yes, we're working on a new book.
Okay.
and it's Feng Shui Wellness. Goes into the 5 aspects of wellness. And so that I've already started on. and I'm probably about half completed on that.
Well, it's just been an honor, Patricia, to have you with us, and more that you're a poster family, not just you yourself, but you've had decades in which the proof of what you're talking about is actually manifesting in your children and your grandchildren. I love one of the things that you wrote in the book. In order to be in control of your life, you need to understand, own, and change your energy as needed. And you said a little bit ago that if you don't like who you are, quit complaining, change. It's so exciting to have the opportunity to speak with you, and thank you so much for the inspiration and the work that you do in the world.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
If somebody wanted to learn more and get involved with Yamaguchi and the Yamaguchi brands, what's the best way for them to contact you guys?
Well, Billy on his card has only one phone number, and that's mine.
Okay.
So I start getting calls from early morning in the East Coast, and I have no problem with accepting the calls. They're always great.
Okay.
805-218-4470.
And is there a website?
My cell phone. And our website is YamaguchiLifestyle.com.
YamaguchiLifestyle.com. Thank you, Patricia.
Yes.
It was wonderful to have you with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, so that will do it for us today. If you have an opportunity, we'd love to have you listen in next week when we have the opportunity to speak with I've actually lost my notes, but listen in. It will be a great show. Thank you. Send your questions and comments to request at American Made Beauty. Thank you for listening to American Made Beauty on HealthyLife.net, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.